We'll start the meeting off with the official roll call, please, Mrs. McGovern.
Present.
Here.
Here.
Present. Okay, so I'm going to, first on the agenda is we have review and approval of minutes of the meetings that we have had. We had a regular scheduled meeting on April 17th, 2017, and we had a special meeting and agenda meeting on May 1st, 2017. So I'd like a motion for approval of the minutes of those meetings. And all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I'm going to work my way over to the podium. For whatever reason, May is a very, very busy time of the month, both locally here in town and also nationally. So we're going to be shining a little light and giving official thanks to many organizations that serve our community. Good evening again. So Memorial Day, as I said, is right around the corner. And as you know, there is a long tradition in our community and in Scotch Plains of really paying tribute to those men and women who made the ultimate sacrifice, who never came home, whose mothers never got a chance to hug their son or daughters. And it is really with great pleasure that I sit on the Memorial Day Committee with Scotch Plains. We do a joint parade, which will be on Monday. But we also do a ceremony here in Scotch Plains, Fanwood at 9 o'clock in the morning at the library. I'd really like to extend an invitation to each and every one of you to join us. It was really with heartfelt emotion as we figured out who would be our Grand Marshals this year that we had a conversation about 3 men that live right here in Fanwood. 3 men that have served their country, who have served their families, and who have served their communities. And it is with great pleasure that I want to call up 2 of them that is here, and then the family of Alan Ebersol, who, as I said, unfortunately passed away before we could actually recognize him on Monday. So Joseph Nagy, please come forward. Edward Miller, please come forward. And then the family of Alan Ebersol, please come forward. So for many of you that live here in Fanwood, I would think that these men look familiar to you. And that's again because of everything that they have done in our community. But they started off with a commitment to our country, so that when our country called, they went with great sacrifice to each of themselves and to their family. So they are going to be recognized and honored, and we will pay tribute to them this weekend as we come up with a concert on Sunday at the lawn in Scotch Plains Town Hall, and again with our ceremony on Monday morning in the parade. So Joseph Nagy. Joseph Nagy, as I met him, is our family historian. Didn't know we had one? Here is the gentleman here. Joe Nagy, when I started out 14 years ago here in our community, was someone that knew everything, was involved with everything, held my feet to the fire when it came time, for budgets or questions or decisions that we had made. And I didn't really understand the history of Joe Nagy. But I got that chance when we sat down recently with Mr. Miller, with Joe, and with Alan. And I met with these gentlemen literally like 3 days before Mr. Ebersol passed away and accepted him. So to say that that time was a treasure would be putting it on understatement. So Joseph Nagy. Joseph Nagy was chosen to be the Grand Marshal in the Fanwood Scotch Plains Parade for his military service in World War II. When he was drafted in 1943 in the United States Army as part of the 647th Tank Destroyer Battalion stationed in New Jersey, Texas, South Carolina, Mississippi, before he headed into the Pacific in 1945. only weeks after the first atomic bomb was dropped in Hiroshima. It was their mission to bring peace to Japan. Joseph Nagy stated, "You really recognize the futility of war." Whereas Joseph Nagy is a resident of Fanwood, was a longtime member of the TV 35 committee for 15 years, is our historian with the Fanwood Preservation Commission, and a volunteer on many nonprofits in this community. So therefore be it resolved that the council recognizes Joe for his generous contributions to Fanwood. We give honor to this man who courageously protected us, and we will spread the minutes of this meeting here, and we look forward to a wonderful weekend. Thank you, Joe.
Hard to come to grips with the fact that we're talking about something of almost 75 years ago. A lot of things have happened. I'm very good. Some very bad. And it's a privilege to be asked to represent a great research, the greatest generation of mankind. And thank you very much for this very, very much.
Mr. Edward Miller. Whereas it is fitting to acknowledge the veterans who selflessly served this country through their commitment and sacrifice. Ed Miller was chosen to be the Grand Marshal of the Family Scotch Plains Memorial Day Parade for his military service in World War II when he was drafted in 1943 in the Army Air Corps in the 6th Aircraft Repair Unit in Texas to maintain radar machines. He was stationed on a small island in the Philippines to serve with American forces against Japan. He was later assigned to a floating air depot in the Pacific, combating Japanese aggression in the South China Sea, ending up in Manila at the end of the war. Mr. Miller stated, "We were there to support the invasion of Japan. That was our one and only focus and goal." Mr. Miller settled in Fanwood and has lived here for the last 65 years, where he has raised his family and he's become an integral part of the community. So therefore, it is my honor to recognize Mr. Miller for his generous contributions and honor this man who courageously protected this country and ended up right here in our own backyard. Mr. Miller.
It's an honor to be recognized at this town. I grew up in Kearney and worked in Farwood from 1951 until 1981. But I moved here to Fanwood and was married in St. George Church in 1958 and moved to Fanwood in 1959. It's been a wonderful town, and it was a long time ago that we started out as young kids, ended up on the Liberty ship, and then got to Japan early September with the occupation forces. But I held in the town. I had with St. Mark's Boy Scout Troop 203. It was something that we had a lot of support from the town. And I can't express my help of everything that passed through here. Thank you again.
Actually, a very fitting segue into honoring the next man, Al Ebersol, who was involved with the Boy Scouts for 80 years. Al Ebersol was involved with the Boy Scouts for 80 years. He was involved with the Boy Scouts before he went off to war, and they found him when he came back from war, and he never stopped. Al was a gentleman that I met when I first started, again, as the mayor. and I was completely intimidated by him. I met him because he ran our recycling association, and he was always someone that I looked at as being so strong, so physically strong, so morally strong, and gave back to our community. So I'd like to invite his son up here. He's going to be receiving this on his behalf. I have to say that we were looking forward to Al participating with us, but he died unexpectedly on April 26th at the age of 94. So this resolution is written posthumously to honor a very truly patriotic individual. Al enlisted in the Army Corps in 1942 and rose to the rank of squadron sergeant and was sent to Japan in 1943. Served at Midway, fought in the Aleutian Islands, and was discharged in 1946. He lived in Fanwood for 65 years with his wife Eleanor and raised his family. He volunteered with the Flint Monks, which were a group of veterans who worked with the Boy Scouts and helped to operate the recycling center for over 30 years. He was committed to the service of Fanwood, so we want to say to him posthumously, thank you, Al, for everything that you have done for us. It means a lot, and I'm very honored that we are able to honor him.
This would have meant so much to him. He lived in this town for 55 years, and never wanted to go anywhere else. He loved this town, and the outpouring has been really tremendous. I don't really have much to add, except to say that the phrase "the greatest generation" is really true. They were the greatest generation. So it's very, very touching. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll see you guys this weekend. Tonight is also a really special night for us and for the rescue squad. And to help me with this next presentation, I would like to call up Councilman Tom Krantz, and I'd like to call forward Robert Crothers. Are you ready to be impressed, those of you who are sitting here in the audience? Bob is being recognized for 60 years of service with the Fanwood Rescue Squad.
It's really my pleasure and my honor tonight to just say a few words about Bob. As a person who's been on the squad myself 19 years, I've had the opportunity to share space and ambulance space with Bob in his many capacities with the rescue squad. He joined the squad in 1957. I was 2. He's seen, that was a time when EMS as a science, if you were, didn't really exist. In those days, the only certification you needed to be on an ambulance squad was a driver's license, basically. They took first aid courses. That was the year that mouth-to-mouth resuscitation was actually introduced as a rescue element. A few years later, CPR came in, and Bob saw all of that. Bob has served the rescue squad in pretty much every capacity, pretty much every role as officer. I remember at his 50th anniversary celebration that we had back with Will Crosby, Bob got up and said some words that still resonate with me today. He basically said, when I first joined the squad, it was all about kind of me being cool, and look at me, look what I'm doing. And then he came to realize later on that he really felt he was doing God's work. And, the message that sends to me is that the only thing that's really important for us as volunteers is that we do it for our community. We're doing this for other people. We don't do it for ourselves. We don't do it for a name. We don't do it for whatever. We do it because we really want to help people. Bob was cited as, he won the Lifetime Achievement Award at the statewide EMS conference in 2014. That was huge. And His other great love, other than the rescue squad, has been St. Bart's for all these years. Bob is a member of the Knights of Columbus there, and he was minister, he's still doing communion for people. Yeah, he's been involved in our community, and he has saved he's helped thousands of people. Bob has, his official call count is 5,101 rescue squad calls. So we're 200 members who And it's been a while since Bob has actually answered a call. He most recently was a driver for us, and up until just recently, he's been our treasurer since 1965, and I think he just recently decided that maybe it's time to give that a rest too. I can talk about it if he wants to. But the borough has a little token to present you. It's a laser engraved token that has the borough seal, and we want to congratulate you on that. Picture time. Well, before he does that, I think that the squad president, Jeffrey Downing, also has a presentation for Bob, so I'll put him ready.
Thanks, Tom. First of all, I just want to echo our congratulations from the squad. We've got probably about 10 or 12 members here tonight to support Bob. As Tom said, besides his passion for numbers, keeping us straight for a volunteer organization is definitely a challenge with limited funds coming in and expenses that have to go out. So Bob has kept us straight. And I'd also like to recognize Bob's wife, Grace, who is with us tonight and has always been by Bob's side, always at every day with us and every event. So without, as we all know as volunteers, without our spouse and significant others, we can't do this. I do have a proclamation from one of our members of Congress. I'd like to read that tonight. A proclamation in appreciation of Robert Carruthers. Whereas Bob Carruthers has dedicated 60 years of unwavering service to the Fanwood Volunteer Rescue Squad. He has provided vital services to the residents of Fanwood and Scotch Plains and has been an inspiration to all who have worked with him. And whereas Bob Carruthers has served in multiple capacities through his tenure, including serving as chaplain and squad treasurer, his commitment to providing the very best care to residents he serves is commendable. And whereas Bob Carruthers dedicated to caring for the safety and well-being of the residents of Fanwood and Scotch Plains is evident in the 5,115 calls he has responded to over the years. He continues to be an invaluable leader, mentor, and friend to both his colleagues and neighbors. He works to ensure that all residents have equal access to representation under the law, and whereas Bob Carruthers is a committed community member whose acclaimed career services serves as a testament to all that can be achieved with a tireless work ethic and a dedication to giving back to the community. And therefore, be it resolved, I congratulate Bob Carruthers on 60 years of service to the Fanwood Volunteer Rescue Squad, and I thank him for his commitment to the people in Fanwood and Scotch Plains. Bonnie Watson Coleman, Member of Congress.
I'm more than overwhelmed. 60 years, this shows what happens to you when you are blessed with a long life. And I still don't understand how I got so old so fast. And I really believe that we're put on this earth to help others, and I hope that I'm able to do my share of it. And it's only through grace that I've been able to do this. And I have two graces, God's grace and my wife's grace. Not meant for one. And incidentally, come 9/11 this year, we'll be married 69 years. a girl I know, she moved next door to me when she was 6 years old. But I never had a chance to get away. Thanks, everybody.
And this is a perfect segue for us to get to our EMS Week proclamation. EMS Week was created back in the 70s by Gerald Ford, basically to acknowledge the fact that EMS was indeed a real science, it was a craft, it was a job, it was something necessary for our society. Our rescue squad tirelessly answers calls day in and day out. I believe the squad's up to about 50 members now. And we, as a member for 19 years myself, it's the best volunteer job I ever could have done. Get a lot of satisfaction out of it, and we've helped an awful lot of people. We're doing, this week, we're doing our free CPR classes again. We've done this for the past 7 or 8 years now. It's a great service to our town, and we appreciate the support that we've gotten from our town, from our citizens, from our council, and the mayor all this time. So, I'll read our proclamation here, whereas the Borough of Fanwood takes enormous pride in the professionalism and dedication of its volunteer rescue squad since the squad was organized in 1948 as a volunteer organization filling the need for extensive and rapid transportation for the medical needy. And whereas it takes rare individuals to commit to providing emergency services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and offering quality emergency care that improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience some illness or injury. And whereas the Fanwood Rescue Squad was organized as a volunteer organization with the first meeting held on January 29, 1948 at the Fanwood Firehouse, where its constitution and bylaws were adopted. And whereas over the last 69 years, the Fanwood Rescue Squad has provided exemplary volunteer service to the residents of Fanwood and adjacent communities, providing high-quality pre-hospital care. And whereas the governing body and the entire community express their deep gratitude to the Fanwood Rescue Squad for their embodiment of old-fashioned values and the small-town spirit of volunteerism. Now, therefore, I, Colleen Moore, Mayor of the Borough of Fanwood, do hereby proclaim the month of May as Fanwood Rescue Squad Month in the week of May 21st through 27th, 2017, National Emergency Medical Service Week, with its theme this year, EMS Strong, Always in Service. We recognize the commitment and dedication of the EMS providers who are an essential part of community service every day in the Borough of Fanwood, and to emphasize their 24/7 year-round commitment, and to urge all citizens to join in honoring those emergency volunteers, past, present, and future, who serve us by dedicating their time and expertise servicing this community in an exemplary and compassionate manner. Colleen Moore, Mayor. I'd like to ask the rest of the squad members in the back to please stand up. Let's go. These are your Thank you, everyone.
So, for those of you who don't normally come to our meetings, we do a volunteer of the month. And we're going to honor this month with really our next generation of people who have moved into family and who have committed themselves to the betterment of our community. And I'd like to call forward Eric Baldwin and Kathy Mitchell. Do you have to come forward too as liaison? So again, for those of you who don't necessarily join us, every month we have take an individual who lives in our community to shine a little light on what they do and to personally thank them for making our community a little bit better. Everyone leads busy lives, they work, they raise their families, their kids are involved in a lot of sports and activities, but yet they have a passion for something that drives them to reach out to us and say, hey, I'd like to, and then kind of fill in the blank of whatever that is. And Eric has lived in Fanwood, and he is one of those great residents that found us. And we first on the planning board. We had environmental commission, and then the planning board, and then back on to the environmental commission. And today he serves as our chairman. And the environmental commission, if you're not familiar, and you may be familiar with our nature center. Our nature center is close to 7 acres of beautiful outdoor wildlife, pristine, not to be built on ever, center that the Environmental Commission is responsible for as its caretaker. And it's not necessarily been eroded over the last couple of years, because it's actually been closed for the last 2 years because of the vegetation values and fence, this is important action, and we're quite a good, since we should follow the thing going on in town. Eric has been at the home. And we're also responsible for the great things that you see on our front lawn, where we have the rain barrels, and we have the rain garden, and they work very, very closely with almost every Girl Scout and every Boy Scout that wants to do a service project in our community, and not necessarily sure what they want to do, but they're going to do something that lasts. And that's where our environmental commission comes in. Happy Mitchell is our liaison there, spends a lot of time with them. And Eric, on behalf, So, this is a picture of our historic train station, which is the oldest train station in Union County. And we give a picture to our volunteers because this is something really special in our community. And this is something that people take advantage of at the train station. So we want to convey to you, Eric, a deep sense of gratitude and a public acknowledgement that everything that you do does not go unnoticed, and that the governing body really thanks you for stepping up and not necessarily stepping away as our lives get busy to help us advance all the environmental stewardship that this community so desperately needs, because we truly believe in our environment and being sustainable in the community. So congratulations.
On behalf of the Environmental Commission, I'd like to say a personal thanks to the Mayor and Council, as well as Clint Dixon and the members of the DPW for their continued support of both the environment and the open space here in the community of Fanwood. We have a lot of open space and really, a lot of really nice green spaces, and it's been a pleasure to work for the care and maintenance of those areas. So thank you very much for your support. Just briefly speaking of the Nature Center, I thought this would be a good opportunity to mention, Mayor Marr mentioned the goats. Actually, this week, the goats will be coming back to the Nature Center to do their last bit of invasive species removal. Yeah. They should be here for about 4 weeks, and for those interested, you can come see the goats this week for about 4 weeks. Thanks again.
So, for all of us who have kids in the middle school, seventh grade is a really big deal because the students have to do a service learning project, and they have to do something that they pick, and they have to promote it within their community. So I would now like to call forward two, very well organized and two great girls that have a great idea of how to educate our community against animal cruelty. So I'd like to call forward Megan and Delaney. Full house, girls.
Hi, I'm Delaney and this is Megan. We are 7th grade students from Park Middle School. We just finished our service learning project and we're here to talk to you about our experiences, what we learned and how you can help too. Before we begin, we would like to thank Mayor Marr and Pat Williams for inviting us here and for scheduling the time for us to speak. For our project, we began by researching the subject of animal cruelty. As part of our project, we began to research what we could do to help solve this problem. Since our families have both adopted animals, we figured the best way we could help would be to spread the word about the importance of adopting animals and combating animal cruelty.
The main problem is that approximately 1.5 million sheltered animals are euthanized annually. That's 670,000 dogs and 860,000 cats. That's a lot of animals that lose their lives every year.
There's a reason why so many animals have to be put down every year, though. According to ASPCA, nearly 6.5 million companion animals are put in animal shelters each year, and only 3.2 million shelter animals are adopted each year. With so many more animals being put into shelters each year, it's no surprise that these shelters are running out of space.
So now you're probably thinking, wow, I'm very interested in this and I want to help. But what can I do? Great question. The main thing is that people have missed out on volunteering. It's very fun. I go out every Sunday, and in total I volunteered for over 13 hours, but that's not the point. The point is that you can volunteer and hopefully make a big impact.
The shelter that we volunteer at is the Plainfield Area Human Society. They are a no-kill shelter, and there is always positive energy in the air.
There's lots of things shelters like the Plainfield Area Human Society need help with. They need help cleaning the cages to keep the animals healthy, and they need volunteers who are willing to play and interact with the animals, and they need people who can speak up and advertise how wonderful these animals are.
So by now, you're probably wondering that we want your help. When we contacted Mayor Mott, she was very helpful providing us information about the pet purchase protection laws. Her help got us thinking that maybe Fanwood could help advertise volunteer opportunities.
So we thought that it might be helpful if the Fanwood our newsletter or the Fanwood website provided links with the addresses and websites of local adoption programs in our neighboring towns to help spread the word about where one can adopt animals from.
After all, the best way to help combat the overcrowded shelters is to get people who want a pet to adopt. Doing so helps keep our shelter populations lower.
Plus, according to the ASPCA, nearly 23% of all dogs and 31% of cats are obtained from an animal shelter. This means many people who are looking for dogs and cats may already be thinking of adopting.
And so, we're hoping you'll consider our request to provide more information of how and why to volunteer and or adopt animals from local websites on our website or online newsletter.
At the shelter that we volunteer at, there are triplets, and but no one wants to adopt them because they don't want to separate them, and also animals can suffer from depression, which is really bad. And I actually know we've seen a cat in the shelter who got separated from his roommate, and he just went crazy. And thank you for giving us attention. Thank you.
So let's keep these young girls nice. You can see the theme of volunteering, and you've gotten a really good lesson in public speaking, right? It's good. You both did very good, and I'm very proud of you guys, and we'll be putting this stuff up on Friday in our e-blast, and it'll be up on the website. So good job.
Thank you.
Got to give them a lot of credit, right, for coming up. It's not that easy. We spoke about ENS, and now we're going to turn our attention for a few minutes to the men and women of our Fanwood Police Department. So I'd like to call forward Chief Trigo, and we're going to hear a few stories of great heroism in our community over the last year. We take this time during National Police Week to recognize true acts that have saved people's lives here in Fanwood. And I'm so glad that there is such a large audience, both here and at home, that will actually understand what these brave men and women do.
Good evening. First off, I want to thank the mayor and council for your continued support. We do this every year And not every community does that, so I'm very appreciative of that. And I have to say this, as being a police officer, you don't take this job to receive rewards and get awards at meetings like this, but you know what, it sure is nice to be recognized. So on behalf of the men and women of the Fanwood Police Department, thank you, Council, I do appreciate it. And the relationship that I share with the council and Mr. McDonough, Mr. Tompkins, is second to none. And it's a pleasure every day coming to work and to serve with these fine men and women of the police department. I'm going to do a couple of awards first, and then I'm going to get into something else that we're looking to do. The first off, I'd like to call up Sergeant Mark Gottlieb, Officer Ryan Gilmore, and Officer Daniel Cranston. These officers are going to be receiving the Fanwood Police Department Exceptional Duty Award. On February 2nd, 2017, at approximately 5:55 p.m., Sergeant Mark Gottlieb, Officer Ryan Gilmore, and Officer Daniel Krantz responded to a Fanwood residence on a possible suicide, with the person being armed with a knife. Upon arrival, the officers located a 25-year-old man barricaded in the bathroom. The officers were able to see blood dripping from both the victim's neck and a knife in his hand. The officers then were able to force the door open and take the male to the ground, where he continued to struggle with the officers while flailing his arms with a knife in his hand and a continued attempt to stab himself and possibly the officers. He was then pepper sprayed, handcuffed, and taken for the proper medical attention. The quick actions of these officers prevented further injury to the victim and themselves. Your actions bring a claim to both you and the Fanwood Police Department. Congratulations. Next, I'd like to call forward Lieutenant Eugene Shin and Steady Year Sergeant Mark Gottlieb. They are being given the Fanwood Police Department Life Saving Award. On September 20th, 2016, at approximately 10:49 a.m., Lieutenant Eugene Shin and Sergeant Mark Gottlieb responded to a Fanwood residence on a difficulty breathing call. Upon arrival, they located a 57-year-old unresponsive male without pulse and not breathing. They placed the victim on the floor and began administering CPR. They then administered 3 shots from the AED. The victim then began to breathe on his own and actually began to sit up and talk to the officers. Congratulations. Before I move on, you can hear a word, and the word is Narcan. If anyone isn't familiar with the word Narcan, that is something that reverses the effects of heroin and opiates. And though I'm proud of the work that the men and women of the Fanwood Police Department do, they actually said, I wish I was not going to have to issue these awards, because they brought people back from death and drug use. And council on, you'll see outside there's a sign that says on Wednesday we'll be having a community forum called Confronting a Crisis. It's on heroin and opiate addiction. And I hope I can get at that part 6:30 Wednesday night, as many people as we have here, because it has no boundaries. This drug has no boundaries. The color, the ethnicity is striking everywhere throughout the country. It's an epidemic. And we've got to first start teaching everything about it. So at this forum, we're going to identify the problem and how we are attacking this problem, safety strategies for parents, and things to look for. But the first thing I can tell anybody tonight, go home, go to your medicine cabinets, and any prescription drugs you have in there, take them to the Fanwood Police Department or the Scotch Plains Police Department, drop them off. Since we have the drug box, if you don't need it, of course you don't need it. that was a given. Little girl. But any unused, any drug that you're not using, please bring them. Because we, myself, Lieutenant Shin and Lieutenant Morrell went to a forum last week, and it varies the percentages. But 70 to 80% of the people that are getting hooked on opiates is because of the prescription they would get. They just became addicted to it. So please take the time to come to this forum, because this isn't my problem, this isn't their problem, it's all of our problems. and we need to talk about the subject. We have a lot of information up at that Sergeant Gottlieb puts up at our information booth up at Quick Check. I remember. And every week I go there and I see people reading it, and they're taking it. And I know the families that are not coming to talk to them. If you have a problem, please come to the family police department. We have ways to help you and put you in touch with the right places. So please, again, Wednesday night, 6:30, Forest Road Park, please come. Okay, it's going to be put on by the Union County Prosecutor's Office. Now I'd like to call forward Lieutenant Francisco Morero and Officer Dan McCullough. On January 3rd, 2017, at approximately 7:15 p.m., Lieutenant Francisco Morero and Officer Daniel McCullough responded to a Fanwood residence on a report of an unconscious non-breather. Upon arrival, they found a 29-year-old male lying face up in the driveway. They ascertained information to reveal that the person had overdosed on heroin. They administered oxygen and administered Narcan to the victim, who then began to breathe on his own. Their actions on this case bring the claim to both you and the family police department. Congratulations. I'd like to call forward Sergeant Mark Gottlieb and Officer Daniel Krantz. They also will be issued the life-saving award. On February 8, 2017, at approximately 1:30 p.m., Sergeant Mark Gottlieb and Patrolman Daniel Krantz responded to a family residence on a report of an unconscious non-breather. Upon entering the home, they found an 18-year-old female lying on the floor due to a drug overdose. The officer administered oxygen and administered Narcan to the victim, who then began to breathe on her own. Their actions bring a claim to both you and the family police department. Congratulations. So I'd like to call forward to state your guys. Sergeant Mark Gottlieb, Officer Elliot Bernard, and Officer Daniel Krantz. On March 6, 2017, at approximately 2:30 p.m., Sergeant Mark Gottlieb, Officer Elliot Bernard, and Officer Daniel Krantz responded to a Fanwood residence on a report of a drug overdose. Upon arrival, they located a 61-year-old female who was not breathing due to a drug overdose. Officers administered oxygen and then administered Narcan to the victim, who then began to breathe on her own. The action to bring both the claim to you and the family police department. Congratulations. Now I'd like to call forward Sergeant Ronald Greco, Officer Elliot Bernard, and Officer Ryan Gilmore. And you can see the common theme here is drugs, but one of the things I mentioned before, there's no boundaries, there's no age limits. We had someone 18 years old and someone 62 years old that we brought back from death. So again, it's so important to come to that point, please. These officers will be given the Exceptional Duty Award, which is also a life-saving award. It's actually a combination of both. On August 7, 2016, at approximately 4:07 p.m., Sergeant Ronald Greco, Officer Elliot Bernard, and Officer Ryan Gilmore responded to a family residence on a report of a suicidal male under the influence of drugs and brandishing a knife. Upon arrival, Officer Gilmore encountered the subject at the front door and observed him holding a knife and having a large laceration on his neck. The subject then ran and attempted to lock himself in a garage. Sergeant Ron Greco then entered the garage and began giving him commands to drop the knife, which the person refused. Sergeant Greco then deployed pepper spray, and the actor fell to the ground. And he was disarmed by the officers. Due to the effects of the drug taken by the actor, he then stopped breathing and lost his pulse. The officers then began to administer first aid. Narcan was then administered by Officer Gilmore, and the victim then regained his pulse and began to breathe on his own. The quick actions of the officers saved the male not only from his own suicidal actions, but also from an overdose. Their actions will both a claim to you and the Fanwood Police Department. Good job.
So let's please have another round of applause. For a personal invitation for those watching at home, for those in the audience tonight, to help us spread the word for Wednesday evening at Forest Park. I'm a mother of 3 preteen boys, one in grammar school. And I have a sense, that our kids grew up too fast sometimes. And I think that we like to believe in our own community that this doesn't happen, but as the chief said, it's right around us. Sometimes it's very quiet. If you aren't here tonight, you would probably understanding that there are episodes that we've had right in our backyard. So we have the chief law enforcement official who is the independent prosecutor of Grace Parks, who is going to be coming into Fanwood with the help of the Scotch Plains Police Department, have a very frank conversation about what's going on here in Union County. Not to scare us, but to educate us. And then for us to go home and to educate our kids and have frank conversations, because every life is critically important. And nobody knows that better than the men and the women from our police department, which is why we did these recognitions tonight, because it is National Peace Officers Memorial Day and National Police Week here. So I want to publicly thank our great chief, Richard Trigo, who leads a department. And we also want to take a moment to know that there's approximately 900,000 law enforcement officials serving communities across the United States, including dedicated members of our own, who serve the people by safeguarding life and property. So it's important for all the citizens to know and to understand duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices that our law enforcement agencies make. So I will ask you to please keep them all in your thoughts and your prayers as we do here tonight. Thank you. We're going to segue into, May, we have recognized EMS, police, we're going to recognize DPW. Last month was also National Autism Awareness Month. And so I'd like to call forward very special lady, again, another generation who understands what giving back to our community and volunteerism all about. I'd like to call forward Ms. Mallory Banks, please. So, National Autism Awareness Month is a wonderful opportunity to shine a little light on a disorder that I think affects everybody. Somebody knows someone, whether it's in their immediate family or their kids go to school with someone that has autism in the range of the spectrum here. And it is a lifelong developmental disorder, and it results in a range of significant impairments for an individual to be able to communicate, how they behave, and how they socially interact. And many families living with autism also are challenged by some complex medical needs, strains on their finances, overburdened schedules by going to therapies, academic concerns, doctor's appointments, strains on family and social relations. And there is no cause or cure for autism with properly early education, training, and community support, which is what Mallory is up here today to talk to us a little bit about, because that community support is so important. And there are organizations such as Autism New Jersey is spearheading an awareness effort in order to educate parents and educators, even our police force and our first responders. And we are here to publicly thank the Banks family, with their friends and with their neighbors of all ages who have created and participated in the very successful second annual Rocking for Autism that was held in our community on the last Saturday of April 29, 2017, that provided food and games, entertainment, but most importantly, education. Education to help enlighten what autism is about and also to raise funds for those who are dealing with it. So myself and the council want to recognize that Fanwood's Autism Awareness. We want to personally thank Mallory Banks.
Good evening. Our second annual Rocking for Autism was a huge success. We had a beautiful day. There were bands playing all day, great food and activities, and the opening day of Scotch Plains Fanwood Baseball. We are so excited to announce that we have made this year $12,170. Which was about 1,700 more than last year. The money that we donate to Autism New Jersey will be used for programs and services in New Jersey for kids with autism and their families. We are already starting to plan for next year. I'd like to thank Scotts Plains Fanwood varsity baseball team for helping us set up, the Fanwood Police Department and the Department of Public Works, Sheeling's Crossing, which is right here in Fanwood, Nick's, Rocco's, and the Fanwood Grill, the Rockin' for Autism Committee, all of the merchants in town who donated, Mayor Colleen Moore for always supporting me, and lastly, my parents and brother for making this possible. Thank you.
Another generation of, individuals who learn really early to give back in our community. So thank you. We look forward to another great year. Thank you. So just like we talked about autism, just like we talked about bringing awareness, I'd like to call forward Laura and Alice, who are here today, who represent Moms Demand Action for Common Gun Sense, because on June 2nd, it is National Gun Violence Awareness Day, and nationally across the United States, there will be an effort to educate people, and by wearing orange. And orange is a color that we'll tell you a little bit about, but we believe here in Fanwood that people have a right to bear arms. But we also believe here in Fanwood that senseless gun violence and deaths that result from that need to be combated and talked about. And I'm very proud of my work with the Moms Demand Action. I'm very proud of our own police chief who's partnered with Moms Demand Action to talk about how people who do own firearms, how they should actually keep them safe in the homes, because we hear too often about a child that somehow is able to get the gun, find the holes and holds the gun, and there's a tragedy. So by partnering with moms and the police department, we have really educated and partnered with the police departments across Union County, and I think it's going to come on to a much larger campaign as a result of what really started here. So what I want to do is I want to just read the short proclamation, and I'll give you a chance to say something. This was done in the wake of Sandy Hook Elementary School massacre, which was 2012, where Moms Demand Action is a nonpartisan grassroots movement to mobilize moms and families to advocate for stronger gun laws, and by establishing a chapter in every state in the United States. And they work along with mayors against illegal guns. And where Orange Day is to honor all the lives that have been cut short by gun violence, it was created by friends of Edie Pendleton, who was a 15-year-old student who was shot and killed in Chicago in 2013. And wasn't she the one who had marched in the president's inauguration, and then left home, and then like a week later he was shot in the streets of Chicago and died. So Gun Violence Awareness Month was created to raise awareness surrounding the issues of needless gun violence. 90 people in the United States die every day from gun violence. 13,000 people were killed by firearms in 2015. 26,000 were injured. Americans are 25 times more likely to be killed with guns than people in other developed countries. So I am very proud that Laura and Alice were able to come here tonight and to help us draw a little attention about this movement. Thank you for coming. We did get it right. I just wanted to
Yes, we wear orange for Medea Pendleton, a 15-year-old high school student from the south side of Chicago who was shot and killed on January 21st, 2013, 1 week after marching in President Obama's inaugural parade, and to honor the more than 90 lives that are cut short and hundreds more injured by gun violence every day, and to demand action. Orange is what hunters wear in the woods to protect themselves and others from harm. Orange is a bright, bold color that demands to be seen. Orange expresses our collective hope as a nation, a hope for a future free from gun violence. Thank you, Mayor Martin.
Okay. So Glenn Dixon. Jack Mulner. So I think it's really fitting that you're drawing attention to so much that we get to also draw attention to our very own Department of Public Works. This is also a month that they pick nationally to recognize all the members of Public Works departments and individuals who work for the municipalities across the United States. Councilman Molnar has a proclamation that he will read. He's also the liaison to our Department of Public Works. Clint Dixon is our fearless leader that takes care of really everything. John Cola is here in the audience wearing 2 hats as a proud father, one of our police officers, but also as someone who also gives 100% of his time, whether it is in public works or as the chief of our volunteer fire department. So thank you, Chief, for coming out here tonight and always being there for us. Public Works, we all know them, we love them more in bad weather because they are able to get us out of the snow, they're able to help us with the debris. They are really fearless and they don't mind getting dirty. They work very long hours and they give 100%. We have a very small department here that does tremendous work. Look at our parks, look at our roads, the train station, you drive by, say, oh, the train station is next to Memorial Day, and everything's great. Public Works does that, from painting the curbs yellow to get us ready for our parade, keeping our grounds manicured, backing up seniors, you name it, the men of the Public Works Department does it. So, Councilman Molnar.
Now, Clint, it's only a National Public Works Week, so we're going to work on trying to get that a month for you. I think you deserve more than a week. Okay. So, whereas the first resolution affirming the first Public Works was passed in 1960 to recognize Public Works men and women who perform vital public programs and services and celebrate the tens of thousands of men and women in North America who provide and maintain the infrastructure and services collectively known as Public Works. And whereas this week calls attention to the importance of public works in our community and enhances the prestige of the often unsung heroes of our society, the professionals who serve the public every day with quiet dedication. And whereas the supportive and understanding and informed citizenry is critical for the efficient operation of public works systems and programs, clean water, operable sewers, safe streets, and highways, to name a few. And whereas the health, safety, and comfort of this community greatly depends on these programs and services, and the efficiency of the qualified and dedicated personnel who staff public works departments is materially influenced by the public's attitude and understanding of the importance of the work they perform. And whereas the quality and effectiveness of Fanwood's public works team is experienced daily and satisfy the needs of the residents of the yard, and whereas this year's public works theme is Public Works Connects Us All, and how we're going to make it a month next year. That's also part of that, right? We're going to work on that? Okay, good.
All for it.
Now, therefore, Colleen Mara, Mayor Fanwood, does hereby proclaim the week of May 21st through May 27th, this week, as National Public Works Week. In the borough, and call upon all citizens to celebrate our public works men and women who provide and collectively maintain the infrastructure and vital services with dedication, keeping us healthy and allowing our community to grow and prosper. So, with that, thank you. When you see them, always thank them. I always try to do it if I see them, but if you don't see them, it's probably because they're doing such a good job. So it's kind of those things too. But thank you so much that where every month I get to give a report of what Public Works does, and I usually try to emphasize the things that you don't think that they do. Like we're just different things like putting up the banners downtown, changing those out, maintaining the baseball fields. Yes, that's our Public Works department that does that. So these are the cool things that they do that it's not the typical things you think of, and this is maintains our community and keeps it nice. So thanks everyone.
On behalf of the Department of Public Works, I want to thank the mayor and council, Mrs. McGovern and her department, Chief Trigo, his department, the other departments and commissions throughout the borough for the continued support throughout the year. I want to give a huge thank you to all the men and women of Public Works. Foreman John Picola was sitting in the audience, Ken Blum, Bob Kurt, Anthony Grasso, Andy Baldessari, Austin Louise, Joe Lettieri, and last but certainly not least, my right-hand person, Dorian Caccioli, who's the administrative assistant in the department. As the mayor and Jack said, when I prepare my reports for council, I always look, and for the past decade, I go through the reports and I look at them. It's harder and harder to get all the work that we do to fit on 2 pages. You know, we're always trying to save a tree and not use a lot of paper. But anyway, it's hard for me to put exactly everything they do. I'd be writing a book every week. And with that being said, I'm proud to say that for over a decade now, we've had 7 men and 1 woman, so 8 people total in our department, and they have continued to take on a lot of new work throughout the town. All the infrastructure improvements that are done in town, the Department of Public Works maintains, and I'm proud to say that they continue to do that with the same amount of staffing, and they continue in an efficient, effective way. And thank you again for recognizing this.
Now, historic preservation work.
That's me. Click it or ticket? I got click it. Click it or ticket, it's next.
All right, click it or ticket, Chief. Click it or ticket.
I was given the proclamation for clicker ticket because I'm a lawyer and I've served as a municipal prosecutor, and I understand that these tickets are important, and the campaign that we had for this week is not really just to inconvenience people, but it really does save lives. So I'll go ahead and read the proclamation. Clicker ticket, May 22nd to June 6, 2017. Whereas there were 560 motor vehicle fatalities in New Jersey last year, and whereas a large percentage of the motor vehicle occupants killed in traffic crashes were not wearing a seatbelt, and whereas the use of the seatbelt remains the most effective way to avoid death or serious injury in a motor vehicle crash, and whereas the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration estimates that 135,000 lives were saved by safety belt usage nationally between 1975 and 2000. And whereas the state of New Jersey will participate in a nationwide click it or ticket seatbelt mobilization from May 22nd to June 6th in an effort to raise awareness and increase seatbelt usage through a combination of high visibility enforcement and public education. And whereas the Division of Highway Traffic Safety has a goal of increasing the seatbelt usage rate in the state from the current level of only 91% to 93%, and whereas a further increase in seatbelt usage in New Jersey will save lives on our roadways, and it certainly will. So therefore be it resolved that the borough declares its support for click it or ticket seatbelt mobilization both locally and nationally from May 22nd to June 6, 2017, and pledges to increase the awareness of the mobilization and the benefits of seatbelt use. Signed May 22nd, 2017, by the mayor.
This again is one of the great things that the council supports the police department. Plus, filling out the grant to participate in click it or ticket takes a lot of work. So I want to thank Mr. McGovern and Fred Tompkins, and also my administrative assistant Diane, putting a lot of work for us to be able to get the grants that go out there and support this campaign. So again, thank you. It's a testament to you and the relationship that we have, which I do appreciate. Thank you.
Joe, you want to help me with this? It's the National Historic Preservation Month. Or you could say it's totally up to you. The greatest generation, you could sit there, you got carte blanche
I'll be there to pick you up.
So May, unlike Public Works, is a National Historic Preservation Month. It gets the whole month because Well, history is very important, and, Fanwood, we have so many great sites here, and I'm the liaison to the Historic Preservation Commission, and that's one of the things I really do enjoy going to that meeting. And visit Russ Buell covered for me this past month, and I don't know if I missed it, but I like when I go because I spend half the meeting usually looking at all the maps that are there, looking to see where my property is compared to the old maps and who's that own that property. So it really is, if you're into history, you should really check out when the Preservation Commission's open. When, the first Sunday is the museum open? First Sunday.
2 to 4 p.m.
2 to 4 p.m. first Saturday of the month. Always check our website. You'll see there's lots of programs that they do. But with that in mind, I'll read it. Always check out our museum. It's getting better every year, and because of members like Joe. So whereas the National Trust for Historic Preservation will commemorate its annual National Historic Preservation Month with the theme, This Place Matters, in May 2017 to spotlight preservation of significant places around the country. And whereas the Historic Preservation Commission plays a unique role in defining us as a nation and in helping us appreciate the richness of our shared heritage while preserving irreplaceable and tangible reminders of our roots and tying the place of history to its population and culture. And whereas the Historic Preservation Commission has helped preserve, enhance, and foster appreciation of the meaning of our American cultural heritage to revitalize our communities and to save our historic environments. And whereas Fanwood's Historic Preservation Commission spends innumerable time and energy educating the public through educational programs, thereby preserving the Burroughs heritage for this generation and future generations. And whereas Fanwood's Historic Preservation Commission has created the Fanwood Museum at the Fanwood Community House, which is a unique treasure chest of memorabilia of Fanwood and surrounding communities. Now therefore, Colony Mar, Mayor of Fanwood, does hereby proclaim the month of May 2017 Historic Preservation Month, and the Borough of Fanwood to recognize the importance of preserving our treasures in our community and to celebrate the Fanwood Historic Preservation Commission for its concerted effort in encouraging reinvestment, saving resources, and promoting a socially, culturally, and economically rich community. Thank you.
Okay. Antonius, did I leave my paperwork over there? My packet? Yeah, thank you.
You can just finish it.
Okay, what do we got left? What do we got left? Kath, National Nurses Week, condense it.
It is pretty condensed. Whereas
Not that we don't love
the
the nurse.
2017 National Nurses Week opens on May 6th and ends on May 12th and acknowledges the strong commitment, compassion, and care nurses display in their practice and profession, and reflect the nurses' dedication to standards, guidelines, and principles defining values and priorities. And Florence Nightingale, the Lady of the Lamp, was the founder of modern nursing, and her birthday is celebrated on May 12th for the 197th time this year. And since 1893, professional nursing has been demonstrated to be an indispensable component in the safety and quality of care of hospitalized patients. And whereas nurses provide primary care of patients by helping those who cannot help themselves and by affording direction, comfort, assurance, and relief that all patients crave in time of medical need. Now therefore, calling Mar, the mayor of Fanwood, does hereby proclaim all residents to join the council and recognizing nurses as necessary and compassionate individuals in the care of our residents, and to celebrate all nurses, men and women, who have chosen this unique profession as an opportunity to care for their fellow citizens and with passion and strong commitment. And I would just say that I accept this on behalf of all of the nurses in Fanwood, some of whom I know, some I don't know. And if I do this every year, if I had to do my life all over again, I would still choose to be a nurse.
Isn't that a nice testament? Thank you. The last two are, one's a proclamation. We had a resident who turned 100 years old, Lillian, and we wished her a very happy birthday. I know Tom was able to go to the celebration. And then we also have a resolution on the retirement of Rabbi George Nudell, who for 35 years, I think it's 35 years, was the spiritual leader at the Congregation Beth Israel in Scotch Plains, and recently retired, and was a big member, president of the Scotch Plains Fanwood Ministerium Association. So we wish Rabbi Nudell good luck on his retirement. Moving on, under the presentation of communications and referrals, we have 2 pieces of correspondence that I'd like to move as they are noted.
So moved.
All in favor? Aye. Moving on to the council standing committee reports. I'll start with Councilman Russ Hugel on the Administration and Finance.
So Administration and Finance, we didn't have a tax collector's report for this month.
Good.
We collected money, we just didn't have the report. I don't think anybody doubts that we, the borough, collected money for the month of April. So, but as Councilman Molinar had noted, I filled in for him at the Historic Preservation meeting, which I was happy to attend. I'll just give you some highlights from that meeting, which was they've submitted a grant for some improvements around the train station, including a new ADA ramp. And on June 4th, they're going to have an open house for the Fanwood Museum, which is Sunday, so the first Sunday, so that'll be their next open house. And then they're going to have the schools from the area come to the Fanwood Museum. They're going to have Evergreen on the 5th of June, School 1 on the 8th, I believe, and then June 16th, the Hump Runner come to Fanwood Museum. And lastly, they are looking to do a photo swap in the fall. They have no firm date plan yet, but that's something that they're kicking around. Photo swap of old historic pictures of the borough, so that's what they discussed at their meeting, and I was happy to attend. And that would conclude my report, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. Public Safety, Councilman Boris is not here, but I think you got a flavor of what our public safety is doing. Oh, you do have the report.
Yeah, I do
Okay.
have the police report for, as submitted by Chief Trigo for the, let's see, for the month of April. Apparently, there were a lot of calls to the CAD system, 1,266, and there were 8 calls to 911. Motor vehicles violations were 597, and there were some 442 summonses. Motor vehicle stops 76, non-moving violations 313, parking summonses 52, DWI 1. There were 12 arrests. Most of them were on warrants from other towns. Controlled and dangerous substance abuse 4, and 1 for volunteering false information. I think that's the first time I've ever heard of that one. And then the crimes reported were 18, 5 for fraud, disorderly persons 3, criminal mischief 1, larceny and theft 8, and burglary 1. And of course, we did speak about, both the chief and the mayor, about the roundtable discussion on Wednesday evening. So I would hope that residents of Fanwood come and listen, because you never know.
Thank you very much. Under Public Works, Councilman Molinar.
First, I also cover the fire department, so I just want to say they had 26 calls for the month of April. About half at night, about half during the daytime. So they were very busy. Plus, they also, other than going on the calls, they also, the volunteers spent a lot of time maintaining the vehicles and also maintaining the building. So they also logged in about 60 hours of volunteer work outside of the calls, just here at the department doing work that needs to be done on the equipment. So we, again, thank them for all the work that they do in keeping us safe. Public Works, as I alluded to earlier, some of the things that they do, they remove graffiti from our buildings. If that goes on, they are a part of helping to remove graffiti, and they did that some graffiti that was on our buildings. They also do weekly sweeping operations of our downtown to keep it nice and clean. They did shade tree pruning on a number of streets, Ginder, South Side, 2nd Street, on Montrose?
Yep.
They were on Montrose. I always want to think that Russ lives on Russell, and he just doesn't. He lives on Montrose, but it always confuses me. Of course, they do what we all like in Fanwood. They completed the spring leaf pickup and the brush pickup. That always seems to sneak up on us. I know it does for me when you start seeing your neighbors come out there, and you're like, oh darn, it's that time of year, I better get it out there. So they're able to do that. Obviously, what I mentioned earlier, dragging the infields and making sure the baseball fields are all set up. So every weekend, they're heavily used, which I'm sure the parents and the audience and here on council know. I think that's, you spend all your weekends at games. And then a couple other things they did, they also helped water the plants downtown that are out there, and they installed the bunting on the north side and American flag and patriotic banners. Did they also install this new bunting on council here? This is new, isn't it? Yeah, so please take a look at the beautiful bunting. The camera will now pan towards the bunting. Go down. If you don't know what bunting is, you will now see what bunting is. A new bunting for our council, and that is the end of my report after that beautiful bunting shot. Thank you.
Land Use and Historic Preservation, Councilman McElroy Barker wasn't available to be here, so we'll go over to Councilman Krantz.
Thanks, Mayor. The Land Use and Historic Preservation Committee, which is Councilman Hugel, Councilwoman Mitchell, and myself, met earlier this month with 7 candidates for our construction official job. It's open. We interviewed them, and that process continues. I sat on the Board of Health meeting for May, and the highlight from that, our health officer wanted to emphasize that Zika is still with us. The mosquito still has not shown up in New Jersey, but there have been an increase in numbers of cases in Texas. As to refresh your memories, since it hasn't been in the news that much, the Zika virus causes birth defects, and pregnant women are still being urged not to travel to the affected areas of Central and South America, some of the islands. Those are all listed on the CDC website. If anybody has even the remotest notion of going to those places, if you are pregnant or planning to get pregnant, go to that CDC list and read up on what those locations are. We did find out that the federal government is now funding for a Zika monitor for every county of New Jersey. It's going to be one individual whose sole job is going to be, under this federal grant, to monitor Zika cases, reach out to the people who may think that they've been exposed, and to help facilitate testing. There is now apparently a test for Zika, costs $800. I don't believe that health insurance are paying for it yet, but apparently that's in the process. But I guess the word is that if you're pregnant or planning on being pregnant, before you go anyplace south of the border, check with the CDC website and make sure you're not going to go to affected countries. That's it.
Thank you. And bringing us up, Councilwoman Mitchell.
Okay, today was the seniors' last day, official meeting. They will be meeting again on June 12th for their annual picnic. And I also want to dispel a rumor that I had heard. Apparently there are some people out there who believe that the dues for the to belong to the senior club are in the realm of $100. Not true. They're $25. So if this has been a dissuading factor for you to join the seniors club, please note, I don't know where that rumor started, but the dues for the year are $25. The Environmental Commission, we saw a lot of that earlier today when Eric was our new chairperson for the year, was honored. Let me see. There's a lot going on there. This past weekend, scouts from Troop 33, I think, were in the Nature Center with putting down wood chips on the trails. As you heard earlier, the goats are coming back for a month. There's students at Terrell are providing some birdhouses. Apparently some birdhouses got smashed and we had some vandalism in the Nature Center this past year. They will start working on the rehabilitating the rain garden, the butterfly garden, and the pollinator garden. They have approximately $800 from various grants that they have collected to provide mulch and to get some new plants for the gardens that are in front of Borough Hall. And as you drive by, of course, as the mayor said earlier, you can see the rain barrel is back up. You see, the shade tree does not meet until this coming Wednesday. However, I know that they have planted 25 trees. They also had a very successful Arbor Day. They were giving away trees, so I don't know that there are any left. There are only little seedlings. The rescue squad, I basically have no report, but as Councilor Chance told you earlier, they are in the midst of their semi-annual fund drive, and I would urge everybody to please donate something, because you don't call a rescue squad unless you have a problem, and when you call them, you expect them to be there. So I think the least we can do is support them. They've had some very successful CPR classes, which they have done every year now for, what, 4 or 5 years now, Tom?
Yes.
Okay. The library, I don't have too much to report. It was a very relatively short meeting the other night. They were asked to see what a new library would cost, namely not just rehabilitating the library that we have, but, tearing it down and putting up a new one. And that, I can tell you right at the moment, it's been, we're not going to do because it costs more to do that than to renovate, so. And the rest of the meeting was spent in executive session, so there's not too much I can talk about that. And that is my report.
Thank you very much. Before we do the payment of claims, I want to just give an update on the Pilgrim Pipeline. If you have not paid attention or didn't really understand that we have a proposed pipeline that would actually traverse through Fanwood. It is a proposed 178-mile directional pipeline from Albany to Linden to transport crude oil. It actually crosses 30 New Jersey municipalities. It actually will affect environmental resources like aquifers, streams, and rivers, and it could impact residential drinking water sources along the pipeline. Fanwood is one of 15 municipalities that have sort of formed together, calling ourselves a municipal pipeline group, to make sure that we are paying close attention to what goes on, because this is a very lengthy process. It's a very confusing regulatory process, and we are very concerned about the impacts of that. We have information on our website. We encourage our residents to educate themselves or to reach out to me. We are going to vigorously oppose any idea of pipelines coming through our town of Fanwood. And I think that it's important to watch because it would impact the Highlands, which there is actually the aquifer is up there in the Highlands. So we are paying close attention to the New Jersey Highlands Council and how they will treat this. Pilgrim Pipeline is not a utility, so they don't have the use of right to go through our right-of-ways, which is really one of the proposed locations, is to use the PSC&G right-of-ways for the proposed route, which is, they tell us, not really set. We will oppose that because we do not believe that they are a utility. We look at it more as a middle person. They're not producing it and they're not using it, they're just transporting it. So I would encourage our residents to kind of follow along through our website. And I bring it up tonight because we are, as a group, the mayors talk about once a month. We meet with the DEP, we work with the Highlands, we educate what's going on in each of our communities because it impacts, like I said, close to 200 miles of New Jersey. And with that, we're going to do a payment of claims, and then we're going to go to our engineering report.
I don't see the payment of
Where's
claims.
the payment? We don't have the payment of claims, Eleanor.
It's not there?
I didn't see it in the packet, but we didn't have the tax collector's report, so maybe we didn't have the payment of claims.
That's not the payment
We
of
didn't take
claims. You
it?
can't pay the bills.
We didn't take any money, we didn't pay any?
Well, we know, we do have to do
Just
that.
kidding, just kidding. I didn't see it in there, but
I'll go get it. Do you want this?
While we go to the engineering.
Yeah.
Okay, so Antonius is our borough engineer, and we're going to jump to his report. Do you have it, we have it in front of us?
Yes.
Oh, here we go. Okay, Antonius, let's talk about what's going on right now.
Around town.
A lot.
There's a lot going on right now, yes. There's a couple items that are still outstanding in the 2016 road program. One is there's a sanitary sewer repair that needs to be done on South Avenue. And then the second item is the three-way stop sign on North and Sheelands. I expect the sewer repair to be done in June, and the three-way stop sign, I'm pushing the contract to get those stop signs installed as soon as possible. Hopefully next week they should be up and bagged until we roll out an education and signage.
We're doing something with the surface of the road, too, right?
Yeah, that's gonna get addressed.
At this, right, before we unbag it, right?
Yes.
Right. In the future, just sidetrack, on a tangent, the water company is gonna come and install a water main in that area in next year, in 2018. So we should keep that in mind also.
Which is south.
Okay.
North.
Oh, north. I'm sorry.
On North Avenue, on the other side of Farmington.
Down to Terrell? Or up to Midway?
You know, I don't know what
Yes,
their.
down Terrell is already marked right now.
Okay.
Okay, so, yeah, so I'm guessing it goes to the town.
Yeah,
You can say
okay.
about that, okay.
Madison Avenue, we are currently redesigning the plans to address some comments from residents and also by the DOT. The new plans will have a 6-foot sidewalk along the curb, and which is what DOT requires. There was a couple of plan changes from the public meeting that we had about a month ago. A couple reiterations, and once the plan is redesigned, we're going to submit it to DOT for their final approval.
I think we have residents, there's residents on Madison Avenue, so we're going to give a chance to have questions. And when he's done with his report, we'll open it up to the public so that you can, and we'll have a bit more discussion on that.
Okay. The construction is likely pushed back. We were planning on doing that over the summer. Now with the plan changes, the construction start is getting pushed back, likely into the fall of 2017. Poplar Road, sorry. We were authorized to go out to bid for that, so next month's meeting, we should be able to award it to a low bidder contractor. So that's coming. Sidewalk audit, that's just about that done. We've been going back and forth with Jack. We will have that, hopefully a final copy this week.
Are you part of your sidewalk audit including the areas down at the intersection of South and Terrell? You were just there this weekend over by the Sun Tavern, the former Sun Tavern, doing a groundbreaking, and kind of noticed that whole little corner area, you know, at the Terrell there. So you should just take a look at that. Yeah, but just make a note.
New Jersey American Water, as we know, they were on North Avenue earlier this year to do phase 1 of their improvements. I just had some correspondence with them last week. In August, they will be coming back to install phase 2 of their project, which is a 30-inch main that that's like a trunk line.
So we had asked them to provide us with kind of like a schedule, you know, where they're going to be, when they're going to be
For this project,
for the summer.
I think this is the only work that they're doing right now.
So, oh, I'm sorry, I'm getting them confused with Elizabeth
Oh,
Town
okay,
Gas.
yeah, I'll
Sorry.
get to that next.
Sorry.
So, once they're done in August, in the fall, the borough has reached out to the Union County Infrastructure Trust Grant, to pave the second half of North Avenue that the water company will not pave. So, the borough will be paving for the half the road that isn't going to be paved by American Water.
So we got to work with one contractor.
Yes,
Like,
that's.
we can't have two
That's a discussion I
contractors
think we
doing
need
it.
to have.
Yeah, it's not
Let's
gonna
have one
happen.
contractor do the whole
Yeah.
job. and
Asphalt, we'll buy asphalt or whatever, but
Whatever the.
one contractor's going to do that.
Yeah, I think we need to have a discussion internally and then with them. Rather than doing two different
That
contracts.
can't happen.
Yeah.
Not an option.
I agree. And then the note again for 2018, they'll be paving, here we go, from Marquee to the PSCNG right away. That's where they go. The new water line. Elizabeth Town Gas, I got an update from them this morning. They're about 25% done with their work. I could get a better schedule from them, but so far, Carson, Crest Lane, 2nd Street, and Robin Road are complete. Portions of Helen and L'Oreal have been completed. They have not yet transferred any of these services to the residents, so that's forthcoming. And they anticipate that the project will be complete at the end of the year.
And all of this is done like they're trenching, right? And then they're just asphalting over the trench. So the roads are just really in a horrific condition as a result of all of this utility upgrades. I mean, that's our problem. I mean, they leave us the problem. in that sense.
Unfortunately, I mean, I wish there was more we could do to keep the fire and have them pave the roads as they, complete job. I don't know if there's anything we could do other than a moratorium.
Okay.
Infrastructure Trust Grant, I spoke about briefly earlier. There's a meeting on this Thursday, which I'll be attending. We expect the grant to be awarded on Thursday. We don't know how much it is, but we'll be there to be surprised.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
If he's finished.
Okay, so before we open it up, I have a...
Oh,
Yes.
South Ave. Pavings of South Avenue.
The entire length of South Avenue.
From Plainfield to Scotch Plains, yes.
Mm-hmm.
We just had a pre-construction meeting with DOT this morning.
Okay, State Road.
Clinton and I were there. They expect to pave in September.
At night?
At night.
That's going to be awesome.
So.
It's awesome.
They said fall. I'm pushing for September travel. Oh.
Nice and smooth, like glass. Like glass. Okay, so we're going to go back to the payment of claims that we didn't have that for. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank Ms. McGovern for getting that. So at this time, I'll move the claims in the amount of $355,774.15, having been listed on the bill list and recorded in the files of Borough Hall and approved by the chairman of the appropriate committees, which we did at our agenda meeting, be paid.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we're going to open up the meeting to the public. We're going to start with the discussion on Madison Avenue. I'm sorry? Oh, sorry, I kind of jumped. I was ready.
Roll call. Aye. Yes.
Karen Mitchell? Yes. Tom Krantz?
Yes.
Mike Mulliner? Motion carries.
Yes.
Okay, so can I have a motion to open the meeting to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So for the residents that are here for Madison Avenue, thank you for coming. And again, thank you as sort of the conversation has evolved. You can come up to the podium if you want one at a time or all together. But I will tell you where we've sort of been. There's been a big picture in the last, like, say, month and a half since some of you were here. We try to listen to our residents, whether it be on Madison Avenue or throughout the community. And Madison Avenue started as a result of the infrastructure issues that were going way back with, I think it was American Water, where they tore up the street. And we got a grant for that, and then we got a grant for safe routes to schools because of issues being in between two schools. And we put forward a plan that we spent some time on, and we had, I think, at least 1 or 2 discussions with the community that was going to be affected on Madison Avenue. And then we had a group that came to one of our last council meetings and made very passionate pleas for a buffer. And we reacted to that. I'm going to be very honest. We reacted to that very passionate plea with several members of the residents there, only to find out that maybe, they weren't necessarily talking for the entire street. And so we got ourselves, we had to take a couple steps back. And that's where we've been for the last couple weeks, to be perfectly honest with you. We have received a lot of emails. We have, the council and myself, we have shared it, we've talked about it, we have worked with Antonius, who is our engineer, and we've spent a lot of time at the State Department of Transportation because all of the work is tied to grants. All of the work is tied to grants. One is a federal grant, which is the Safe Routes to Schools, which has a higher level of sort of inspections and sign-offs, as does the physical road. So we heard the issues regarding the concerns with the buffer. We visited the street. We sort of understand, Councilman Molinar and I spent a lot of time about the encroachment issues of dealing with the buffer and then the sidewalk. So we kind of went back to the drawing board and deleted the buffer. And when we did that, the DOT held very firm with a 6-foot sidewalk. I mean, I think that's basically where we are today. And we just found that out last week?
Yeah.
Last week. So that's sort of where we are as we sit here on Monday night. And it's been a conversation that has been ongoing, and I know it has been frustrating, but I will tell you that this was always done with sort of the best intentions of the world of improving your street, to curbing, to the pavement, and to the access. And we have been introducing sidewalks throughout the community, so it's not necessarily we're targeting your street to put a sidewalk in. We are a complete streets community, and we have put in sidewalks in several of our projects and over the last couple of years, and they have been a real improvement. So I'll call forward anyone that's here today that wants to talk about this project.
Hi, unfortunately, my name's Chris Monahan, lifelong family. Lifelong family resident. I grew up on Herbert Avenue, and then 24 years on Madison. I'm sorry I missed the last meeting. I know some of the people in the neighborhood, I guess there's been discussions of for a buffer or against a buffer. A lot of discussion I've heard around the neighborhood is whether that sidewalk, what side of the street it should be on. If you spent time over there and saw, at least between Russell and Park and Martine, all the cars pull down on the south side of the street. To have the sidewalk on the north side of the street, in my opinion, it doesn't make any sense, because the kids still got to run across the street through any traffic, cars zipping down, up and down. As far as the other side of the street towards the School 1 side, parking on that side and the sidewalk honestly makes sense on the other side. I'm not sure if it can be done, whatever the decision is on that, maybe it's set in stone that it's got to be on the north side, 6 feet versus 5 feet. That's debatable, or I guess DOT mandates things like that. And hopefully I don't anger any of my fellow residents, but in my opinion, to not put a grass buffer between the curb, and I know it'll bring a little more of our property Fortunately, there's a decent setback, much more setback on the south side of the street for those homes. So to me, the sidewalk would make more sense on that side. We have all the fire hydrants, we have all the utility poles that are right up to the curb. No matter what happens, and if you drive around town, if you drive over to Hunter and look at the sidewalk that was built there, right up to the curb, no matter what happens, not to put a buffer between the street and the sidewalk will make it, for lack of a better term, it's gonna make it look urban. And that's not, this is a nice little neighborhood. You can't have a sidewalk butted right up to the curb line. That just, to me, are there conceptual drawings on that? Was that an option discussed? I know you guys say you go back and forth. But if you drive around some of the nice wide streets in Westfield or Scotch Plains or even some of ours, it always looks better when you have a buffer. And I know some of the people in the crowd, are going to disagree, but if you picture it in your mind, it just makes it look, and that's, safety is clearly the most important thing, and I understand the grant money, you don't want to lose the grant money, and the street is in terrible disrepair. Completely understand because of the pipe work, and that was a disaster, but it had to be done, and nothing, and I think you guys did the right thing in waiting to do this project, so that what you were just talking about with the gas lines being ripped up all over town, that's terrible, but it happens. And I think we did the right thing, waiting, as long as the street's terrible, but just in my opinion, the most important thing is to have a buffer for aesthetic reasons and safety. Got kids walking right along the curb. Having fire hydrants and utility poles right in the concrete, it's going to look like downtown Newark. That's my opinion. Entry time.
Thank you for having us here tonight.
Thank you for waiting.
I'm Anthony DeSanto. I'm from the 85 Madison Avenue. I have sent the board and yourself a large package of photographs of Madison Avenue as it is right now. I wish I had a computer to show you what it would look like after the first meeting that we had, after that meeting, I had asked for another meeting after some of our other residents were able to talk about it, give our thoughts about it, and we were refused another meeting. And then invited those to come down to Madison Avenue to see what was going to be destroyed. The character of the street itself, number one. The openness of all of the fire hydrants, the poles, the destruction of trees, which I don't think anyone wants.
That was revised, so there is no destruction of trees. Just, I don't want to cut you off, but I think there was one tree was slated to go, and that was not.
If you can pick out the tree that you're talking about, it'd be nice.
Okay, well, he does that. I didn't mean to cut you off.
So, I've spoken to almost everyone on the block. I had a petition signed by almost everyone. I think the only people I didn't get to were those that were away or at work. And my emails to Beth Williams, back and forth with her, I've been looking and talking with people and trying to figure out a way to establish what you're trying to accomplish. And there's no way that I cannot see any of it happening. Because if what I understood as you're going to go around trees, it's going to look like a snake going up and down the street. It's going to take away the entire look of Madison Avenue. The first block that you walk into in Madison, in Fanwood, is Madison Avenue. And right now, it's a beautiful tree-lined street. I've been there for 25 years, and that's what it's always been.
On the north side, there are signs, and you can see them there in the photographs. No parking on the north side between 2:30 and 3:30 and early in the morning, where the kids can walk. Now, number one, the path to walk between the two schools is behind our house. That, and I sit there every morning with a cup of coffee and look outside, and I don't see any more than maybe 6 people use that walkway in front of my house. I see many in the back with carriages, kids with knapsacks, carrying themselves back and forth in the morning and in the afternoon, going from school one to park and back and forth. So it just seems insane to me to see that the properties of Madison Avenue, especially those from my house down towards Willow, the street becomes narrow. To take away any of those, that footage from those people, they won't be able to put their car in the driveway. They have 2 cars, only one will fit. Because the thing is, if the driveway becomes part of the walkway, you cannot park there. Otherwise, you're going to get ticketed. So none of this makes any sense to me. To ruin a street for what? No one's going to walk on it. There is no traffic, walking traffic on Madison Avenue. I've invited us to come down and look and sit with me and have a cup of coffee. Nobody wants to do that. You can't do it from an office somewhere else. You can't do it in your own mind. You've got to be there physically and see it. That makes no sense to destroy that piece of property. Anybody's.
So I will tell you this, that in all the years that I am sitting here, we have not and we will not destroy anything in an advancement of an improvement. So I am very aware of the controversy that has been created by, as I began, the discussion on Madison Avenue, which was a very sort of simplistic idea. Fix the street. Fix the street, include curbing, as we have done in countless, and also advance our complete streets policy. Those were the 3 goals that we were. And Councilman Ugal, who's been up here with me for a long time, has spent a lot of time over the last several years sort of on Madison, from the time that it got sort of blown up by the work that's being done there. And I understand the condition that it's in now. It's in terrible, terrible condition. So this controversy has become, as painful as it is for you, it's become, really painful for us too, because this was never what this was supposed to be. So I think I need to say that and kind of just take a pause, because part of what we're hearing has been also 2 different messages from the community. And the last meeting we had probably a few more residents that are here tonight with just a very different message. So so we heard it, we took a couple steps back, and we kind of let it sink in of what was important on behalf of the residents that were there. I think that's a kind of an accurate statement. And when we shared that, and that information got out, it was then met with pushback. So, I'm trying to kind of say, all right, let's figure out, let's stop this, let's, right.
I understand all of this craziness.
Right, and so we normally have 1 meeting with the residents, we send out letters for a street improvement, we meet at the carriage house, we share the plans, we answer any questions, we'll go out if there's any specific issues.
March 30th.
March 30th.
You were at that meeting.
Yes.
You were at that, yeah.
My view, can I give you my feeling on that?
Sure you
on that
can.
meeting?
Sure you can. I was not there.
I'm not putting anything. To me, I was looking at a pencil sketch. If it was to be sold to us, it should have been a full, colorful rendition of what the block is going to look like to sell it to us. Not what we looked at. We couldn't even find our houses on that thing.
Sure.
So,
Yeah,
where
I
I'm at
understand.
right now, I would think that fixing the street, which has been so insane for
It's
the
terrible.
last over a year,
It's terrible.
fixing the street, putting in the concrete, and ending. Because that would keep the place clean and wouldn't disturb anyone's home. Because right now, if you look at those photographs, all the landscaping that's done on that street is going to be gone. It's going to be gone. What are we going to have? The sidewalk next to our doorstep?
Well, we understood, and again, and I'll let the council speak, but we have sort of been trying to just figure all of this out, because at the last council meeting, there were very passionate pleas of people who, that your residents would basically have heart attacks and die if we didn't have buffers put in there for the shoveling.
I think you might have to sell signs.
And then the other point is yours. So, we're grappling with doing what
Right.
we think is the right thing to do for the improvement of the street.
All right, has anyone talked to us about the big work?
Well, we just are trying to figure out what the options can be,
Why don't you just talk to us?
and that is a very good idea.
And that is our next step. We went through the DOT, we found out that if it was a buffer and a sidewalk, that it would have to be a 3-foot buffer and a 5-foot sidewalk, which would bring it 8 feet into the lawn. Which, because of a lot of the setbacks there, the houses are closer on that side of the road. That's a big chunk of, especially when you don't have a sidewalk now. Retrofitting a sidewalk into an existing neighborhood is one of the hardest things to do. But we do encourage walking, and the funny thing about walking is that when you build it, they will come. There are people walking on that street now. No, let me finish, sir. Let me finish, sir. People are walking now in the street, but if you build a sidewalk, it does make it safer. We've seen that in Hunter, we've seen that in other places around. You would not see cars driving there if it wasn't a road. You do see people walking when there's not a sidewalk. So what we're trying to do, and that's why we have a complete street policy, is to put in sidewalks where we can, especially in a spot that's near the school. So I think there's two things there was two decisions here. One was, are we going to do a sidewalk? And I think that was agreed upon, we're doing a sidewalk. Then we got to, how can we best do a sidewalk there that works the best and has the least amount of intrusion into the existing homes. So that's why we first started with a 5-foot sidewalk next to the curb, because we didn't want to go up into the houses. Then we met with the residents, then residents came here and then wanted a buffer. Then we changed that to showing a buffer. DOT then told us that even if we wanted to do the curb next to the sidewalk next to the curb, that it had to be at least 6 feet wide. They actually called for a 7-foot wide sidewalk. We got them down to a 6-foot wide sidewalk because of where we're getting this money from on Safe Routes to School grant that has federal dollars attached to it. So with that, the 6-foot width actually kind of helps a little bit with people having concerns about next to where the road is, next to where the cars are, and also with snow removal. So the little bit extra wide helps with that, and it's kind of splitting the baby a little bit, but that's where we are now. It's our engineer is coming up with plans, and then we were going to try to have another meeting to show you the plans again. I didn't think we were going to color it in green and everything, but what we were going to do is show that.
So let me just sort of put this in context. So we are going to have another resident meeting. We're going to have another resident meeting. We're going to have better detail of what we're proposing. I think that's number one and number two. So that addresses it. I think that controversy, and sort of having various residents of your street come to us at different times has created this situation, which I think is very frustrating for everybody. So I think in order to nip that in the bud, we will set a date. Eleanor will make sure that all the residents get an invitation. We'll go to the carriage house, and we'll walk through exactly what the constraints are from the DOT, what we're sort of grappling with, and we'll have this conversation. And I know that at this point, not everyone will be happy with what we want to do, but I think that we need to be able to get all your residents back in there, because this was never envisioned the way that this has sort of evolved, and I feel bad for that, because, it's prolonged it. We thought we would actually do something this summer, so that's off the table, so, because we haven't designed anything. So the good news is we haven't designed anything.
Right.
And I've gone out to bid in the sense of having drawings for that.
I would like to add something else to all of this.
Sure.
Being in a situation where I sit, I watch cars come down Russell every morning, make a right or wrong. I gave Chief Trigo a traffic pattern,
Yes.
if you're familiar with that, okay? I think that makes, if the street is done and curbing is in, I think it makes a lot of sense, the safety of the children. That is the main quest here. Okay? If no cars are coming into Madison Avenue in those hours of the day, children can walk anywhere they want. Cars will have to leave Madison to Martine to the right. They would leave towards Willow, straight ahead to Hunter. The crossing guard does not have anybody coming in and out of trying to go crazy. The guys in these...
Yeah, no, it's a half an hour of chaos. It's a half hour of chaos.
Cars that come down Willow will go straight to School 1, okay? So it eliminates a lot of the traffic problems, it eliminates the kids being in any kind of danger, which takes me to, I have a few clients. I have a business in Scotch Plains. I have clients. And they talk to me about what their problems are and what their concerns are. And a lot of them are teachers at School 1. And the complaints that I received in the last couple of weeks is that the cars flying in to the parking lot.
The new parking lot?
By School 1.
The unnecessary parking
Passing
lot?
their parking lot, passing the School 1 parking lot, the kids walking around, coming into school, flying into the other parking lot that was created, taking it away from our backyards.
Tell me about it.
Okay, and that, I watch.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because I was not aware of that issue, and that's something that we can help address.
My concern towards that is that I sit there with a cup of coffee, and believe me, I do. And those hours, I'm up, and I watch cars fly down Madison Avenue, and I watch them, I go to my dining room window, and I watch them come in the back and go into that parking lot, which one shouldn't be there in the first place. It should have been on the other side.
I'm with you on that one.
Should have been on the other side by the post office.
So I guess my question is real quick.
My traffic patterns would eliminate those people coming and flying through.
We'll get that from
Madison
Chief.
Avenue.
We'll get that from Chief Tree.
Their entrance would be from East 2nd Street, making a left into that parking lot, away from School 1.
Okay. I have not seen that. I will get that. And I guess my question I have for you is the people that are coming into that unnecessary parking lot that I also don't like, are they then parking and getting out of their cars to go into work? Oh, so they're the employees that are doing that. Okay. Got it. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
your time.
Thank you.
I think
Just your name again for the
Chris
record,
Monk,
just because.
81 Madison. I think some of the people that he's talking about continue are using that as a thoroughfare to avoid some of the traffic of either
I'm sure they are,
all the way around.
because it cuts
They're not
in.
parking in there, they're zipping right through.
Dropping the kid off?
And just on a lighter note, I hope you guys understand, if you send some of the passion, we get hammered over there on our properties with this, that parking lot and the lights and,
Right.
for 20 years, all nice and peaceful, not only taking away, you guys know. So just understand now, it's like,
That's,
what's
you know what,
happening
that's
to us here.
that's a
We'll get
very
from
good point.
Both angles, so.
That's actually a very good
But
point.
when you talk about the traffic pattern, And you said it's a half-hour chaos. I think it tells, the story tells itself as these cars come off of Russell onto Madison, then they park on the right side of the street. The kids are getting out on that side of the street. That's where the sidewalk should be, at least down there.
Thank you.
John Georgiuski, 45 Madison Avenue. First, I want to thank you for taking your step back. Because when I heard that there was a 3-foot buffer in consideration, that's when I was getting a little upset. Just a question, has the engineer and his team looked at, right now you have all the footage coming from my side of the street. Right now I've heard 5, I've heard 8, now I'm dealing with 6. And there's still talk about a buffer. I don't know if that's where we're going.
Right.
No buffer. No buffer. My question is, if you're bringing in heavy equipment, which you are, if he plows here or moves over 2 feet to the other side, to me, it's the same thing. And since all the utilities are on our side, to me, it makes sense to move everything over. Take a little bit from my neighbors across the street. I don't mind giving up 5, but I don't want to give up more than 5. And I don't know if that was considered. I don't know if that's an option.
The designers that worked on the project took into account the alignment of the roadway and all this engineering stuff. So it was taken into account. Right now there's 60-foot right of way, right? So no properties are taken, we're not going onto anyone's property, right? So there's no encroachment happening.
We're working within the existing right-of-way, which is...
All the work is in the right of way.
Right now, the burden is all on our side of the street. All I'm saying is, if you're gonna go 6 or more feet, I believe you should look at taking a little bit from the other side.
I'll make a note.
You know, just, again, I didn't realize how much I was losing until one day I had to move my cars around and it hit me. Holy cow, because what I did is I had some mulch in the back end of the driveway, and then all of a sudden I couldn't go all the way up, and I'm saying, well, I'm looking at the pole, that's 5 foot. I said, oh my God, I'm not gonna be able to park my cars here.
Yeah, well, that's not the goal of that. It's honestly not the goal of that. And like I said, we're going to schedule a day soon, just because summer's coming and we need to get this resolved one way or the other and bring you all together.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not going to receive what all they said, so.
It's okay.
Michael Desarney, 67 Madison, I've been here for 27 years. The problem there is the people that use, to go to school, one, that use that for picking up their children and walking, don't live on Madison. They live on the other side of Martine, like up by you, Montrose, like that.
Right.
So when they come in, they allow the parking on the south, on the north side of the street. They park their car, they walk down, get the little children, come back, then they make a K-turn, back up, and it's chaos.
And that's part of the problem.
He counts in the back, I sit in the front and count.
See, that's part of the problem.
There's 18
K-turns.
cars, I counted them one day, 18 cars. Out of the 18 cars, 15 of them did K-turns. Because they don't want to go down to the end of the block. And I yelled at one guy, and he said,
Is that more in the morning or in the afternoon?
no, in the morning, there's no walking on the street. Everybody drops the child off in front of school and continues on down the road. Don't go up Willow
Right.
at 8:30 in the morning.
So you see that pattern in the
It's all
afternoon?
afternoon traffic. No one walks, they're just there to pick their kid up.
Okay. And do you see any, are the police present?
I mentioned to the chief that one night, I said, sit there, I said, you can sit a cop in my driveway, because my driveway's big enough. I'm not there all week most of the time. Sits me in my driveway and watch what goes on here.
I know in the morning they tend to be there, which is why I was asking, but I think you're right. I think that they're not there in the afternoon.
Morning, they're there.
And then the other thing I noticed, I happened to walk out back in that new parking lot that nobody likes. People don't want to wait to come out onto Park Avenue, like it's just teachers or whoever. And I see them going out past school one, where the big sign is, do not enter. These are educators, don't they read? It says, do not enter. I can see from my house, which is 65 feet away.
So do not entering into the connection of the other...
Back into the school.
Into Park.
They go one way in, they go out on Park Avenue. That was the design.
They didn't take that.
But they don't want to wait to go out to leave, so they come out.
That's not a problem.
They didn't consider
That was one of our comments.
Right,
We
that
didn't
was
want-
right, that was one of our comments.
Because I didn't want them to go out into the residential street.
But as far as people walking, and other than that period from 2:45 to 3:30, other than that, the street's desolate.
Right.
You have a cage of person walking their dog. There's no children walking up and down the street. High school kids, they don't come down, because very few people go down past us because they want to do another thing. So,
Again, I appreciate it, and it did strike me about, honestly, the last year and a half of your street. You have such a beautiful street, you have such beautiful homes, you have nice neighbors over there, and you really have been sort
That
of...
was shocking, because you always came down when we were, running for elections, and that's, what a beautiful street. And then, when you want to destroy it and make it back to the city.
Well-
That's why we moved here.
And
When I came here, I
that's
said, wow,
not,
this is-
and that's not our, and honestly, that's not our goal.
My father
So,
called Fanwood's process.
I understand, and we
If you want to
have,
do it, it wouldn't be
Right.
Gotham.
I will tell you, we have ears. We do, we are listening, and I think that we would, sort of,
And those two neighbors that were the buffer, their motive was just about snow. How often does it snow that you have to worry about three times a year for snow? You're gonna ruin the whole structure. I mean, you want to put a buffer, that's fine, but I went onto Hunter, and I measured, now was Hunter a federal grant money or no?
No, just state.
So because we're getting federal money, I can make my house an abomination, but the ones on Hunter have a nice buffer, about a foot, and a 36-inch sidewalk, or 48.
What is that, 4 feet?
They have 5 feet.
4 feet on
Sidewalk
it.
is-
Sidewalk's 4 feet, and the buffer.
all right. Okay, I hear you. I hear you loud
I mean,
and
we don't mind that, but if you take some outside.
clear. Okay, got it. No, I completely hear you.
One person take the whole bunch.
No, I'm, what do they say? No good deed.
All my tax money.
No,
We're gonna send you a bill for the maintenance on the
we
sidewalk.
hear you. And
Okay.
we'll circle back to you sooner rather than later.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, thank you. Anyone else? Please come forward and just state your name and address for the record.
Sorry, I'll make it very quick. I also live on at 57 Madison, grew up there, moved out, and then came back. And now living there, hopefully for the rest of my life. But one thing I wanted to say, because I'm on the side where the sidewalk's going to come, and so
I'm sorry, what number were you?
57.
Thank you.
And that to me is yesterday.
Yes.
But when I moved into this house as a child, we didn't have school one at the back. It was in the center of Scotch Plains. And when I moved out, we came in when the other schools burnt down. So we sort of lost that nice open field. Now I have the building behind me, and like some of my other neighbors, it floods my backyard. And we never had that when I was a kid. So when it's a rainy season, I lose about a third of my backyard. Now you can put a sidewalk in front, and I'm going to lose 6 feet in my front yard. And it just doesn't seem fair that we come in and pay taxes and they're not cheap, and I keep losing more and more of my yard.
Understood.
I know there's not much you can do,
Well,
the
we'll see.
limitations of what you're
We'll
told you
see.
can do, but we really appreciate you and the state of trees. And the other thing, which is totally different, but I wanted to say this, you folks, or the Shade Commission put a tree in my front yard. And if they ever do, and thank you, I love the tree, but it's right where the sidewalk's gonna go. And my suggestion for the people that put the trees in, don't put them under the power lines, move them indoor.
The idea there is to put the trees that do not grow high, like the oaks on where there are power lines, the trees that don't grow as high go on the other side where there are power lines.
The opposite.
There's
Yeah.
low-growing trees that
the opposite.
PSCNG allows to be under their power lines.
Like this is just in power lines. It's
that
not
one.
a huge tree, but
high,
it's
like
already power lines. So
Don't
it's just
go
a
there.
suggestion.
All right, I'll double check with them.
Yeah,
just heard
it'd be
it.
nice if you were to feed in and
And what number house is it?
57.
57, okay.
Beautiful tree, it's growing great.
Thank
But you're
you.
gonna end up either taking it down or go around it now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ken Gill, 109 Madison Avenue. So I've shared this concern of the public safety concern, the pedestrian safety, since I moved here, since my daughter went to kindergarten at school one. Sort of appalled there on sidewalks on both sides of school, on the street as busy as ours. And in fact, the kids when she went to Park Middle School, there was an assignment to write up. You guys might have gotten these letters about the need for a sidewalk on Madison Avenue. And so that's a long time ago. She's a college graduate now. There is a long-standing concern. So I was really happy to hear that we're going to get a sidewalk. Because I was one of those guys calling the cops like every few days at one point. And it's nice to see them. The police are regularly on the Madison Martin intersection most mornings.
Right.
Which wasn't the case in the past. They're limited to come over and call them, of course. And they arrive about just the time everybody's gone. And so I know there's going to be a series of trade-offs, but and I'm glad to hear there's a reconsideration about what's going on, because some of the things don't make sense. To have everybody discharge on the south side of the street, and when it's between Russell and Martine, to then jaywalk to the sidewalk on the north side, it's not going to make any sense. That's exactly the problem we got now. The kids jaywalking at any point. And, incongruously, people just dropped off their children at school, driving somewhat recklessly. I don't know how that happens, but it happens every morning. I watch it every morning. So we really need a comprehensive look at it, about the parking regulations, the traffic patterns. My neighbors may well this point, so they want to echo it. I do appreciate that the borough got this grant money to make this improvement. I think it's long overdue. But we really want the whole context taken into account. Because I think it could really be a big improvement to the street. It would be safer. I've seen too many deer accidents over the years. I can't believe it hasn't been a serious one. But I would like to see it done also in the least destructive way possible. Even though I didn't own it, I've taken care of it for 18 years. So I feel like I own it. I planted 1 or 2 trees, in the borough's property probably. But who knows the borough's property? I don't consult my surveyor every spring. So I do appreciate what's going on. I do appreciate the reconsideration. I know there'll be a series of trade-offs. But I'd like the dialogues going on about this, because it's just not a matter of putting in the sidewalk. I think we have to figure out the traffic patterns, the parking patterns, etc.
Thank you. I want to thank everyone that's sort of waited on a work night and on a school night to talk to us about this, and you've been very articulate in what your concerns are to come out here. So this is what I will say. We will be in touch shortly, and we will have a meeting, and it will be a good one, where it will be comprehensive, and we will lay out reasonings, and we will have a good, healthy discussion. And we will come out of that meeting with a plan. Okay, I think that's a good next step. All right, so if there's not anybody else, I can have a motion to close. Yep. Oh, sure, come forward, please.
No, it is my fault, you're going up, go. That's right, there's a screen.
Yeah.
So, we're here for our service learning immediately to talk about the issue of sidewalks.
Service learning and sidewalks, all right, girls.
Okay, so my name is Gabby Crota, and my name is Julia Bonhope, and I'm Miranda Rossi. And we are the 7th graders at Terrell Middle School, and we're currently working on a service learning project for a social studies class. In class, we have recently been learning about the branches of government, more specifically the 4th branch. This branch consists of the people and their giving back to the community. The service learning project is meant for students to go out of school and find an area of local need. To do this, we are raising awareness of the lack of sidewalks in our town. Also concerning
is the fact that many of these walkways that we do have are cracked and very dangerous to walk on. Having a safe place to walk is important for people of all ages and not just kids, who never be too old to be safe. Annually, around 4,500 pedestrians are killed in traffic crashes with motor vehicles in the United States. Pedestrians killed while walking along the roadway account for almost 8% of those deaths. None of these deaths are preventable. Providing walkways or sidewalks could help to prevent up to 88% of these crashes, according to the U.S. Department of Transportation Federal Regulation. Many walk and bike to school. One of the barriers to walking and biking to school is that not all neighborhoods have sidewalks or safe crossings. The lack of sidewalks and the conditions that they are in should concern everyone in our community. As a student that walks home every day, the toughest challenge is not the long walk, but it is the lack of sidewalks. Walking home from school is popular for middle school-aged kids. I walk the back path until there are no sidewalks there. Once when walking home, I was yelled at for walking on someone's property, but I felt that I had to do it to stay safe. Once I get close to home, my own street doesn't even have any sidewalks. There are many reasons besides safety why having sidewalks is important. One benefit is walkways with improved parking. Sidewalks provide opportunities for walking, and studies have shown that people with access to sidewalks are more likely to walk and meet recommendations for physical activity. Having sidewalks can create a safe environment for children to play outside and will make parents feel safer about their kids' playing. In addition, sidewalks can provide economic benefits. Property values rise fastest in pedestrian-friendly areas. A study by the Urban Land Institute shows that home buyers are willing to pay more for homes in local communities. Lastly, sidewalks can decrease the use of cars for short trips, saving gas and lowering emissions. As you can tell, sidewalks benefit all people. So this issue is an immense problem must be addressed. My group and I are working hard to spread awareness and their voices heard. For a project, we are required to complete 3 acts of service, one of which was completing a survey at school and viewing what others think about this issue of sidewalks. We found that 88% of the students in our grade agree that something must be done to confront the lack of sidewalks. And our second act was that we set up an informational table at the SB1CA 5K race last week where we handed out brochures informing the people about our issue. And then we also attended the Scotch Plains Council meeting. And last week came to you to ask the township to take in the idea of making sidewalks available for everyone under consideration. After all, having better sidewalks is better for everyone. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Well, isn't that appropriate? I wish I knew you were here, girls. I wouldn't have let you gone so long on school night.
Would have put them on first.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much. Can I have a motion to close the meeting to the
So
public?
moved.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, moving on, under old business, we have the public hearing on the 2017 municipal budget.
Right.
And
Which
this is
we're-
just going to be a public hearing, right, not the adoption?
We're going to look to adopt on June 6th, or June 5th. June 5th? 6th? Right, 5th. So this time I'll open up the hearing to the public.
Second. Have a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, so we want to have we want to welcome the public forward if they have any questions on the municipal budget. Is there anything, Fred, that you want to say prior to? We've been talking about that.
Nothing that hasn't already been said.
Nothing that has already been said is correct. Okay, seeing if there's any, may I have a motion to close the public hearing on the budget?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Now, you want me to move the consent agenda?
Sure.
At this time, I'll move the consent agenda, items 1 through 4, resolutions 107 through 110.
Okay.
110, yeah, it's late.
All right, so I have a motion, can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
And
Next.
then, at this time, I'll move resolution 17-05-97. This is to authorize an amendment to Nigerian's contract relating to sidewalk construction in the municipal lot downtown.
Authorize an amendment, all right, we need a second. Okay, may I have a roll call, please?
Jack.
Jack.
Commissioner Mulliner. Wesley Nichol?
Yes.
Jack Mullenhour?
Yes.
Tom Cruise?
Yes.
Catherine Mitchell? Yes. Motion carried.
Next, I'll move Resolution 17-05-98 is to authorize a tax sale and direct our CFO to make a bid at the tax sale.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Wesley Nichol?
Yes.
Jack Mullenhour?
Yes.
Tom Cruise?
Yes.
Catherine Mitchell? Yes. Motion carried.
Next, I'll move Resolution 17-05-99 is to authorize lien to be placed on Black 9, Lot 1 for failure to remove snow from their sidewalk on March 16th of this year.
Second.
Roll call?
By the way, that was on camera, and it wasn't the borough.
What?
The borough didn't put that snow there. Neither did the Board of Education. It must have been a private organization that did that. The snow that wasn't removed,
Uh,
and we were
From
told the
the
dollars,
private-
but we did it.
from the private contractor?
They have a video of that?
We just found this out, yeah.
Okay.
They put it in sometime. Wesley Nichol?
Yes.
Jack Mullenhour?
Yes.
Tom Cruise?
Yes.
Catherine Mitchell? Yes. Motion carried.
Next, I'll move Resolution 17-05-100. This is to refund duplicate tax payments that residents have made.
Second.
Roll call?
Wesley Nichol?
Yes, to give back the money.
Jack Mullenhour?
Yes.
Tom Cruise?
Yes.
Catherine Mitchell? Yes. Motion
Ne-
carried.
Next, I'll move Resolution 17-05-101. This is to award the contract for the use of the cell phone tower to Verizon.
Second.
May I have a roll call on that, please?
Wesley Nichol?
Yes.
Jack Mullenhour?
Yes.
Tom Cruise?
Yes.
Catherine Mitchell? Yes.
Next, I'll move Resolution 17-05-102, establishing salaries for non-union employees. We do this every year. We create a salary guide for all the non-CBA employees in the borough.
Okay, I have a second on that?
Second.
Wesley Nichol?
Yes.
Jack Mullenhour?
Yes.
Tom Cruise?
Yes.
Catherine Mitchell? Yes. Motion carried.
And finally, I'll move Resolution 17-05-103, award contract to the credit card maintenance agreement.
Second.
May I have a roll call, please?
Wesley Nichol?
Yes.
Jack Mullenhour?
Yes.
Tom Cruise?
I'm going to abstain on that because I know an individual who is directly involved with this, so I think wants to speak in the public portion of our meeting here. So I'll abstain.
Catherine Mitchell? Yes.
Okay, next?
I'll move Resolution 17-05-105. This is an in-grade promotion, which I'm sure is well earned, to Officer Bacola, to a Class F.
May I have a roll call?
Wesley Nichol?
Yes.
Catherine Mitchell? Yes. Tom Cruise?
Yes.
Jack Mullenhour?
What do we do? And then lastly, but not least, I'll move Resolution 17-05-104, since I'm on such a roll, award the contract to EKA Associates Community House Topographical and Boundary Survey.
Okay, may I have a
Second.
second? May I have a roll call?
Wesley Nichol?
Yes.
Jack Mullenhour?
Yes.
Tom Cruise?
Yes.
Catherine Mitchell? Yes. Motion carried.
Can I have a motion to open the meeting to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to call forward any members of the public that are here that wish to make comment.
Excuse me, I guess this is my opportunity. My name is Steve Siegel. I have been a long time fan of the residents, locally, the Golf Rescue Squad, and I've been providing the credit card processing merchant services for the town for the last 5 years. My understanding was is that obviously news it went out. I have been, over the last 5 years, available relatively quickly whenever these situations have arisen, be it in the afternoon, be it sometimes at 10 o'clock at night. I have been called by the local court clerks to be able to help out and service right away. I understand there's some financial implications which may be leading the bid toward another direction. I would like the opportunity to reevaluate and sit down with those parties concerned and see whether or not we can meet the financial goals of what the borough is looking to do and still continue to maintain the level of service that we offered you for the last 5
Why is
years.
he talking this now? Why didn't we talk to him? I don't know. Why is he saying this now?
He feels he wants to say it, that's all.
Did you speak to him during?
No, I did not.
Did anybody?
I asked her.
it wasn't agreed to. But normally you wouldn't do that with a vendor. It was a bid.
Did you respond to the bid?
I responded to the bid. I put out what I thought was a fair evaluation of what the situation was. I know when the information went out to bid with other vendors, I know some of the information that went out can be kind of skewed based on the way other companies may evaluate. And I'd like to have the opportunity to re-review with you and see what you saw and see whether or not, and not taking anything away from your evaluation, whether or not the evaluation was accurate. And again, it's a very cutthroat business. If I can meet your financial goals, I'd like the opportunity to stay servicing the community the way that I have in the past.
Okay. One, I know that you have been providing the service to us for the last several years. I know that we had discussion about the going out to bid and some of the financial implications. So what we just did, which...
Just the water.
Yeah, I know. I mean, look, I know that.
We went out to bid, we got 3 bids, and...
So what I'd suggest is, why don't I just take a look at what we did, and I'll take a look at the bids, I haven't seen them, and why don't, I'll get in touch with you after I take a look at them. I don't really think we should speculate on what the bids are or aren't, or what the procurement laws are or aren't, without really taking a look at it.
Going over it. Okay, so based on what our attorney has said, she's gonna review the bids there, and we'll be in touch.
And again, if it's something that, being the type of business that it is, if I can make an adjustment to whatever it is to meet your goals and continue to stay in place, some of the other costs that were not probably thought about is in a conversion process, it's going to cost the borough a significant amount of money. It's not an easy transition going from one company to another. I've made it easy because I've been here from the beginning. We just set everything up in one place.
And that may be something that wasn't looked at, so.
I agree.
I'll take a look at whatever, and I'll take
Let me
a,
meet with you if that's the case. I can lend my area of expertise in explaining how the system works.
we'll just take a second look at it, and
Send it to you tomorrow.
Okay.
we can
That's fair.
do that. Okay?
That's fair. Thank you very much.
Close.
Anybody else? If not, I have a motion to close the meeting to the public.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are going to go into executive session with matters relating to an employment relationship. We are not taking any official action, and we will come out to expressly adjourn. So we will say goodnight at this point, and I'd like to have a motion to go into executive session.
Second.
All in favor? Good night.